Hello everyone, my name is Steven Zapata. I'm a concept artist, illustrator, online art teacher, and former instructor at Art Center College of Design. I would like to introduce you to my new drawing course, Form from Imagination, a course designed to help you draw with confidence from your mind. Maybe you want to be a professional illustrator or designer, maybe you want to be a master with a pencil, or maybe you just want to be the best artist that you can be. Beautiful goals. But it's not always clear how to improve the work that you do from imagination. Over the past 6 months, I've taken all of the little eurekas, tips, and essential exercises that gave me confidence drawing from my mind and compiled them into a sequential course. We start with the absolute foundations, covering the scientific nature of light and shadow, how to hatch, how to create flat tones, how to render spheres and cubes, and step by step, we move through combined shapes, complex shapes, organic shapes. We cover how to simplify extremely complex subjects like the head into basic shapes so that you can handle them more easily from your head. We look at how to understand and treat details. And by the end of these 14 chapters with over 50 video lessons, you'll be ready to do complex designs from your mind with fidelity and energy. And all the demos are done in pencil on paper, so you can do all of the assignments even if you don't have a fancy digital art setup. But I also have demos, instructions, and modifications to the assignments for those who do want to do them digitally. Here's how it works. Go to formfromimagination.com and sign up for the course. Download the assignment book and start watching the lectures. Do the assignments at your own pace. Take your time with them and use this self-study to develop your patience. When you're done, post your assignments in the exclusive community hub, and I'll personally critique your work with drawovers, diagrams, and advice. I want you to know, this course is no joke just because it's online. It is challenging content, and it is more complete than it would be if I was teaching this class at an art college as I have before. If I was teaching this class in person at Art Center today, I would just play these videos in class, knowing full well that they're the most concise, focused, edited, step-by-step way to convey the material. So I'm serious when I say, this course isn't just a substitute for a college-level course, it's better than a college-level course. And you don't have to pay thousands of dollars per credit and wind up hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. So thank you for checking out the course, thank you for watching this and for your support, and thank you for drawing and making your artwork. The world needs it. I'll see you soon. Dude. All right, let me assume the position here. All systems online. Booting up drawing engine. Checking visual protocols. Checking audio protocols. Testing audio levels. Boop, boop. Testing, testing. Is this in a good range? I think it is. And the music is hopefully right in the sweet spot where it's just audible, but not too loud. Joseph Mazziliano, Suplex Messi Nocturne Matej Goyar, Tet Rowan Corpus. I Nocturne, Sean Streeter, Ryan, Care Blair, Renola Dominguez, the son of Zug and Overactive Imagination. Hello, everybody. Happy Memorial Day if you're in the United States. I hope you had an excellent holiday. And I am sketching at the end of the holiday here. And if I sketch, I'm live, so. Does the audio sound okay? Am I loud enough compared to the music? Autumn Rose is so early this time. Autumn Rose is early. BF Jerky says, hello there, greetings from, I don't know how to pronounce that, Liechtenstein? Greetings from New York. Getting some food first and drawing while watching your stream? Excellent, excellent. Let me pop out chat. I like chat on that side. Dashboard on this side. No, don't take up the whole. This there. Let's open up a new file. I couldn't find my the drawing glove that I've been using, so I pulled one out of one of the drawers behind me, an old one, and I sniffed it for no reason. Not a good smell. You got to wash these every now and then. Not a great smell. Hello, Theodora. Hello, Sasa Boznjak. Autumn Rose says I wasn't going to draw today, but now I might with this stream. You should. You really should. Hello, Warrington Fieselfeet. I hope everybody had a good Monday and a good holiday if you're here in the US. Goodbye, Dyson Visart. Steven and 53 says, Steven, your audio and video are always a notch above other art creators on YouTube. Is that true? What microphone and camera do you use? How did you learn to put it all together? Well, for how did I learn to put it all together? A lot of trial and error. I mean, I've been streaming for a long time. I think I started streaming in like I think the first time I streamed art was like in 2014 or 2015, so almost 10 years now, which is not as long as some people, but it's been quite a bit. So I've been familiar with the basics for a long time. And anyone who has watched me stream for a long time knows that I have struggled with the tech problems a lot. New tech problems always rear their ugly head, so I've just learned to put it all together through painful trial and error. My current gear, what microphone and camera do you use? So the face cam that you're seeing right now is the Logitech Brio, which is a pretty high-end webcam. You don't need that for face cam. I have that because that used to be my drawing cam. That used to be the camera that I would put on my pencil drawings when I started. I later switched to using an SLR camera, but so that's a really good face cam. That's not what I got it for originally. And the microphone that I'm using right now is a very good microphone. This is the Rode NTG5 which is a shotgun mic. I went for the shotgun mic because I move around a lot on stream, and I don't like having usually what you see people streaming with is dynamic microphones, which have to be like right up on your mouth to use well, and that locks me up while I draw. I don't like that. I've tried it a little bit in other people's setups, and it's just like, it's always right where your hand wants to move, and it's kind of in the way of the drawing. So I went with a shotgun mic, which sounds good from far away as well as from up close, so that I can keep it kind of above my head, out of my way, so I can just forget that it's there and still sound okay. It's a trade-off, of course, because a shotgun mic picks up more ambient, like room noise, but you know, I weighed the pros and cons for me, and I'd rather a little bit more room noise and ambient noise than just sort of feeling totally uncomfortable while working. What pencil thin erasers do you use for your graphite drawings? Those are the they're called the Mono Zeros, and I want to say they're by Tombow. Someone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. Off the top of my head, I don't quite remember 100%. I don't think you guys can hear it, but there's church bells chiming out my window right now. It's quite nice. There's a nice breeze coming. Oh, let me just appreciate it. Just drawing nice breeze after a hot, hot day. Church bells. This is about as peaceful as it ever gets in New York City. Saturday night right now. I mean Monday night. The planes aren't too loud coming out of the airport nearby. It's about as peaceful as it gets around here. Why do I get... Hold on a second. I gotta turn something off. Smog, pollution, air, what does it taste like? Awful. It tastes awful. And I have a lower life expectancy than people who don't live in one of the most populous cities in the world. It is an exciting place. I don't really take much advantage of it myself. I'm a homebody, but when I do want to go do something, I can do literally anything here, so that's nice. I don't know. I'm mostly in New York for family at this point. Stay close to family. It's very, very expensive to live in New York. Stephen, if you could live anywhere in the world outside the US, where would that be? There's only a few places where I ever felt like, when I was there, where I felt like, oh, I could live here. I'm gonna say Rome. That's the one I'm gonna pick right now. When I was in Rome, I felt like I could live there for sure. New York is great if you want to get pushed in front of a subway. Well, you know. Life's a risk. Edu says, any tips to deal with the fear of doubt and uncertainty of the future? Fear of doubt and uncertainty of the future while trying to improve your skills. Sorry, your question is being swallowed by the giant heart in the bottom right of the chat. Any tips to deal with the fear of doubt and uncertainty of the future while trying to improve your skills to enter the industry as a beginner intermediate artist? Any tips to deal with the fear of doubt and the uncertainty of the future while trying to improve your skills to enter the industry as a beginner intermediate artist? It's always a difficult thing to answer because it's a two-pronged thing, because fear and doubt are sort of inevitable as an artist. Like, I think most artists need to go through, will go through, I don't know if you need to, but they will go through a natural period of just being horrified of this thing. You get the occasional freak who really doesn't ever feel that, but most artists will. So in that sense, it's like, don't worry about it. Like, it's okay that it's there. But then there's the other side, which is it doesn't actually make sense to be afraid. Like, there's really nothing to worry about. Uncertainty about the future, it's like everything's uncertain. There is no certainty. Like, there is no way to get a grip on this thing. There is no way to control the outcomes so that you know things are going to go the way that you wish they're going to go. On some deep level, it's like if you can just accept that, then you're going to feel more calm, and you're also going to be more in line with the nature of reality. It's like trying to be an artist is a crazy thing. Like we talk about it like it's a normal job now, and the prevalence of like art schools. You know, art schools always need to talk about things like it's a sure thing. Like, if you come here, you're gonna get great at art. Woo, like you might get a job, you know, woo. Like that, their branding, their marketing, everything like that requires them to sort of project that air of certainty. But it's just not real. It's just not real. Being an artist is always a risk. It's always strange. It always requires you to sacrifice a lot. That's always been the case. It's gonna keep being the case. At a certain point, you just need to accept that and move forward anyway. I know that may not be the most comforting answer, but I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, you know? Tired Enio says, I recently started studying anatomy. How do I use these crazy books to actually study? Anyways, that's all I wanted to ask. We'll probably rewatch the stream tomorrow morning when drawing. I'm asleep. Go sleep, Tired Enio. It depends which book you're looking at, but to study a straight up anatomy book, like a book that focuses on this is where this muscle starts, you know, this is where this is its origin, this is its insertion, this is its shape. Books like that, copying the diagrams is a good place to start, but read the text. Actually read the text. A lot of anatomy can be learned and understood without looking at any pictures. Domer says, I never make the lives. Happy to be here. Been drawing a lot again with the help of your lives. Very happy to hear that. Welcome, Domer. Welcome to Alive. Steven, do you ever experience burnout, and how would you deal with it? You just take a break. You just come off of it. I don't think I've ever experienced true burnout with drawing. I don't think I've ever let it get that bad. And I find drawing very recharging for the most part.
but I've experienced burnout with other things in life, and the only solution I ever found was just stop. You've got to stop. Take a break. Noah Berklin says, I've been thinking of going to the grad program at the New York Art Academy for figurative painting and anatomy. My girlfriend is, however, totally against going to New York. Any thoughts? I don't think this is the kind of thing you should take advice from a random YouTuber on. Seems like the kind of thing that should, you know, if your girlfriend doesn't want to live in New York, I mean, you guys need to suss that out, you know? It's a you guys thing. If you're asking me for just my view of New York, I mean, I love New York. I complain about it all the time I think everybody finds things to complain about. Finds things to complain about the place they live, but that doesn't mean I don't love it. I think New York's great. I can hardly afford to live here, but that doesn't mean I don't love it. Imon says, Steven, I want to buy a Les Paul guitar of my dreams, but I'm 4 years into hardcore art grinding. Is it a waste of money? I don't know. How good are you at guitar? I don't know anything about music. Is your relationship to music and art such that your drawing pursuits have to completely curtail your music pursuits? I feel like they're totally separate. Steven, how do I improve at composition? Composition is what you do with everything in art. So I don't think you improve at composition in the abstract. Composition I don't consider a fundamental. Some people consider composition a fundamental. I don't really understand that. There's some light talk you can do about composition in the abstract, but it's very minimally useful. You practice composition by doing compositions. So it really comes down to the base thing that I always advise on this stream, which is you need to do the dream pictures. Just do the pictures that you actually dream of making. Just attempt them. That's how you get better at composition. Stephen is deathly afraid of giving us relationship advice that could ruin our lives. I am. I also assume you guys are joking when you guys ask me for dating advice or something like that. Well, I know you guys are joking. I mean, it's just, you know, don't cave into that parasocial thing, you know? A random YouTuber on the internet like me should not be guiding life-changing personal decisions, I don't think. Did I mention my course is on sale? I'm sure you guys can see. It's right under my head. It's right over here. Oh, I went under it. Dang it. Dang it. Well, the course is on sale, and you can see the info right under my head. There's $100 off the version that has feedback from me, and $50 off the premium and core editions. Art Dad says, Steven, I've been seeing this purple dinosaur lately, and like he just doesn't get me or my art. He's always singing at me to make more friends, and I think he's cheating. What do I do? Just give in. Do whatever he says. Whatever comes out of his purple dinosaur mouth, do it. Do it immediately. Any good workouts for painting? Just recently got into painting after being confident in my figure studies. Is still bad. Oh, there's all sorts of, you know, doing limited palette paintings, monochrome paintings. I mean, if you haven't done much painting from life, you probably want to do a considerable amount of painting from life. As I say, from reference. It doesn't have to be a real thing in front of you, though that's one of the best things you can do. The most important thing is that you just need a ton of mileage painting. Almost any exercise will be beneficial in the long run. It's like that old saying about exercise. The best exercise is the one you'll actually do. Nice rain just started coming down that you guys might hear. Lorenzo Lopez says, heck yeah. Just when I'm craving another Steven video, he comes out to share his art wisdom to the world. That's right, I'm here. Better Potato says, hey Steve, do you have any experience in making erotic art? Let's just say I make less than the common art for different reasons. I have trouble drawing a male's part when they're less than excited. Are you trying to get me to teach you how to draw a big flaccid one? I don't do that shit for free, brother. That lesson don't come cheap. you imagine how fast this stream would get shut down on YouTube? They'd be like, you can't do that. And I'd be like, but it's for educational purposes. And they're like, when we say educational, we mean like educating people on their actual bodies, not teaching them how to draw. And I'd be like, oh, right. I actually drew a pretty chunky flaccid one in my sketchbook the other day. Good stuff. Good stuff. Very esoteric, very arcane techniques. If you guys saw it, you'd be thirsting. After the techniques. You'd be thirsting after the drawing techniques. Kareem says, hello again, Steven Zapata. How does one expand their visual library to a sufficient enough level to be able to draw from imagination? And any tips on drawing from imagination? The number one thing that people need to draw from imagination that a lot of people lack is just a happy comfort drawing from their head. It's like, to some level, here's the core. Every time you draw from imagination, no matter how it comes out, you succeeded, right? As long as you made an attempt to manifest what is in your head, you kind of did it, right? So you always have something to feel good about. And you know that you're on a spectrum of progress for it. If that core is not solid, if you can't connect with that, if you feel insecure about your drawings, if the idea that they're going to come out bad keeps you from doing them from your head, things like that, that's actually the number one problem. That is the first thing that needs to be fixed. I have been drawing from imagination my whole life. I have been bad at it for most of my life. It never kept me from doing it. I was never, ever confused. There's few things I had any talent about. I started at a pretty low level, and I'm a slow learner, so I've got the worst of both worlds. But one thing that I really feel so thankful that I had temperamentally was that I was never confused about the fact that, like, I was exactly as bad as I was supposed to be at drawing from imagination, that there was nothing wrong about how bad I was. And because I wasn't confused about that, I was just perfectly comfortable just happily drawing in a mediocre fashion. And I just always had this, I never even questioned. I was just like, if I keep doing this, I will get better. I've seen myself get better. I'll keep getting better. And that's the number one thing. That's the number one secret. You just have to be willing to continue doing it, even if you're not doing great drawings. That's the number one thing that people don't have that is holding them back. They think that they need to, like, do an exercise or something. I don't even know how to put into words. They think there's something they need to do before they can allow themselves to draw from their heads happily. And that is not the case at all, at all. Johnny Pearson with $10. Thank you so much, Johnny. Hey, Steven, love the streams. Any tips on making the connection between what we read in fiction or some type of novel story, then applying what we read to what we make for art? Making the connection between what we read in fiction or some type of novel story, then applying what we've read to what we make for art. I'm gonna assume you mean in a very straightforward, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but I'm gonna assume that you mean illustrating a book or a story. Or do you mean something more ephemeral? Or do you mean more like a novel has really affected you emotionally and you just want to, like, elevate your art to that level? Let me know if that's more what you meant, but I'm gonna assume that you mean the more common, what people are more commonly looking for, which is how do I illustrate stories, novels better? How do I do design projects based on them or something like that? And that's a very complicated question. But the first thing is always to know the material very
is to know the material very well, and you progress. You sort of make progress over the years for how much you can bend source material. So I usually break up that kind of thing into beginner level, intermediate level, and then advanced doesn't really apply here. But beginner is you're trying to do art based on something somebody else made, and you're just trying to do it straight from the barrel, straight down the barrel. Johnny elaborates like, oh, I like the Shrike from Hyperion, I'm going to make a sculpture of it. Right, so, okay, so you do mean it in a more straightforward way. So in the beginning, if you feel confused, pick source material that is extremely rich in detail, right? So there's a difference between Harry Potter and No Country for Old Men, right? I was actually just writing about this for my the concept design course that I'm making. I was just working on a script that talks about this, so this is fresh in my mind. There's a difference between Harry Potter and No Country for Old Men. Everything in Harry Potter is lavishly detailed. You know what shape everything is, what color everything is. Every character, you have pages upon pages of vivid descriptions of their face, their hair, their clothes. You know the colors that they wear every day. You know what wood their wand is made of. Like Harry Potter is the kind of source material where you don't really ever need to ask any questions about what everything is supposed to look like. And that, I think, is the place that most people who are new to designing and adapting things, you should start with things like that, right? Because not all novels are made equal. So as opposed to Harry Potter, something like No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy, that book is pointedly, on purpose, very spare on visual descriptions, right? You get some lavish descriptions of landscapes, but characters, like the main antagonist of that book, Anton Chigurh, what do you know about him from the book? That he has blue eyes, and that's basically it. Everything else about him, what shape is his body? What does his face look like? What's his haircut? What kind of colors does he wear? Everything else about him is going to come down to a creative decision by you. You're going to have to lead the creative spear on that. And that is an intermediate project. I classify that as an intermediate kind of project because you do have source material, but there is huge holes that you need to fill with your own creative decision making. And that is quite hard for someone who is just starting out. So I happen to have read Hyperion, right? And I know that the Shrike, for me personally, I would say the Shrike is an intermediate level because the Shrike is described, and actually no, maybe the thing about the Shrike is that the Shrike is on the cover of one of the books. So there's a pretty hard visual reference point there. But if there wasn't, just from what I remember based on the book, the Shrike is described, but it really comes down to like he's chrome and extremely pointy. And you know, that's really not that lavish a visual description of this quite compelling character. So I think that you should, you know, assess where you are, how much practice you have with this kind of thing. And I think most people should cut their teeth on beginner style work. Pick source material that is very lavish with visual detail, and then graduate slowly to things that are much more open-ended. An advanced project is just, there's no source material, right? So anything with source material I think of as beginner or intermediate, and then things that don't have source material, that means you're dreaming it up from scratch, that's an advanced project. That's incredibly difficult because you have to do all the writing and creative decision making. Hold on, I gotta turn a light on. Whoa! Yeah, he's thorny on the cover, yeah. It's a whole other can of worms when you have things that already have a hard visual reference point. Like I said, Harry Potter is an easy beginner project because it's lavish in detail, but it's also complicated by the fact that everybody already knows, everybody in their head already has a standard for what Harry Potter looks like, and that's the movies. So if you want to do an adaptation of Harry Potter, you either need to lean into the benchmark of the movies, or you need to sort of pointedly go in another direction that makes it stand out from the movies. And that's another can of worms.
Does that help? I hope that helps. Things that aren't lavish with visual detail. Really, they make you work hard. You gotta, as much as you're an illustrator, you need to be art director as well. Read any good books lately? I've been a little light on reading lately. I've been rereading a couple things. Have I read anything? I think the last new books I read Killers of the Flower Moon and I read The Wager, both by David Grann. I liked Killers of the Flower Moon more. The Wager was good too, but I thought it had a bit of a slow start. And as far as shipwreck books go, Endurance, the story of Shackleton's doomed journey to the South Pole, that's still my favorite shipwreck story. Hey Steven, I recently rewatched your Clip Studio sponsored video and I'm wondering if you still use it at all. Yeah, I do. That actually reminds me, I think my subscription just lapsed. I need to resubscribe. It's been a bit, but there's a bunch of streams where I've used it. Where's that, I drew... Give me a second. Yeah, I drew this guy in Clip. This is all Clip. This is in a new... This drawing is actually in a news spot that I did for Dutch TV about AI. That drawing shows up in that news clip. Got any basic tips for making drawings more interesting? You know, it really comes down to the individual drawing. Most people, before they really get a grip on design, they kind of like just draw. And when you're drawing, you're technically always designing. So it's better to not be naive about it as you do it. And when you design, you're arranging all of the elements of art towards a particular emotional end. So it generally makes any drawing more interesting if every single individual element is shaped towards that emotional end. And that's possible. So like, if you're drawing Batman, this is just the first thing that comes to head. If you're drawing Batman, it's like, you need to make his silhouette heroic. You need to make the cut of his cape heroic. But then like the real master level, you know, when you know you're dealing with a good draftsperson, is that the pouches on the utility belt need to be heroic. How do you do that, right? That's possible. And you need to sort of be, it's like heroic is the unifying theme, and And you're gonna do that to goddamn everything on Batman. You're gonna make the individual shadow shapes heroic. What does a heroic shadow shape look like, right? Your opinions come into play there. The pattern on the bottom of his boots needs to be heroic if he's gonna have one. The way that his grappling hook shoots out of the grappling gun, that the rope makes, needs to be heroically shaped. It's like you shape every single element to the design theme. So that generally makes all drawings more interesting. That doesn't mean you make them all heroic, obviously. You say the design theme of this drawing is cute, right? What does cute mean to you? And you make every single element cute, 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 cute. That's not to say you can never just draw, right? Like right now, I'm just drawing. It's like sometimes you need to just draw to come to the conclusion about what the design theme is. But then once you have an idea for the design theme, in further drawings, you should focus on that. Hey, Steven, what's your favorite anime? I do not really watch anime. I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z as a kid. I have not seen any of the new DBZ, though. Like, what is it? Whatever one Ultra Instinct Goku is from, I haven't seen that or anything. Bajarno art. Is it Bajarno or Bejarano? Bejarano art says, hi Steven, I took a course on analytical figure drawing, learned a lot, but the process is too technical and it takes the fun out of drawing for me. Should I look for another way of learning anatomy? Just remember that all drawing like methods like that are meant to be training wheels to instill the principle, and then you go back to drawing intuitively. You're never supposed to give up on your intuitive drawing method. You're always supposed to return to that. You take on things like Loomis method, Riley abstractions, Draw Through by Scott Robertson, like any of those. You put them on as training wheels to internalize the concept, and then you just go back to drawing the same old way that you do. Evangelion, Attack on Titan. Yeah, I know, guys. I've tried them all. I've watched the first episode of both those shows. Anime is just not my thing. It really isn't. It's just not. It's just not my thing. Alonzo says, I've been designing characters for a while and I'm starting to like them in the sketching phase as in the general shapes, but when taking it further, trying to be more specific with details, I struggle. Wonder if you have some insight on this. It does kind of link to, what I said before. Like all the details should support the overall idea of the character. Like I said, if Batman is supposed to feel heroic, even the pouches on his utility belt need to be drawn in a heroic way. The details can become really boring or you can't connect with them when you forget that you're supposed to be lying about everything, right? It's like you get to drawing, I don't know, the holster for a gun on this character and you think, all right, I just need to draw a gun holster. And it's like, no, you're supposed to be drawing their gun holster, right? Like what gun holster is a character going to buy if he's an extremely tricky technical person versus he's a clumsy brute, right? Like there's different stories to tell about those characters, even with the gun holster. So a really good designer, a world-class designer, and certainly if you want to compete with world-class designers are going to tell the story with every single fucking little detail. And if you want to compete with them, you need to do the same thing. Otherwise, their designs are always going to be more compelling, more interesting, more thorough than yours. Did you ever read Vagabond? Parts of it. Just clicked around to some random chapters somewhere. Read some parts. Berserk is the move, Stephen. I know. I read Berserk and put it down. I think we talked about this in the last stream. I stopped in the middle of the Golden Age. It's just not my kind of, I don't know what to say. I just like, I think people think like just because I draw, I must be like a big fan of anime and manga, and I am just not. It's just not my kind of thing. It's just not my taste. I respect them. I think a lot of them are really great pieces of art. It's just not for me personally. The end of the golden age is what made Berserk famous. I know. I saw what happens in the movies. I watched the 3 movies. I know it's been made multiple times. Whatever one was the trilogy. I watched them, for the record, because all anyone wanted to talk about on stream was how I need to read or watch Berserk. There was a period on this stream where the top line in the description of this stream was, "Yes, I've read Berserk." Any advice on bringing things to a finish? You need to find a way to make it fun for you, but that's different for everybody else. Me, in order for me to finish something, I need to be able to discover it along the way. If I plan it too much, I feel like I've already seen the picture and I really struggle to finish it. So I need to maintain surprises for the finish if I want to go 100 hours on something. It took a long time for me to figure that out for myself. That's not advice they like to give you in art school, but everybody's process is supposed to be different. But other people are the exact opposite. They cannot enjoy finishing something if they don't have a solid plan. It's too scary. They just feel like, well, why am I doing this if I haven't planned it? So other people need to go the completely opposite direction. They need to plan it extremely tightly so that they can just comfortably sit there for 100 hours and work everything out. I think it's because the art genre is similar to what you draw. Yeah, I think anime is just like, I say this to my wife often, that anime is the ascendant art form of our era. It's like, it influences everything. So even if you don't watch anime, you're watching something or consuming something that is influenced by anime, right? So even though I don't watch anime, it's inevitable that I'm influenced by it somehow. It's like video games are so anime influenced now. Or always have been. And I'm definitely influenced by video games and stuff like that. Renola says, gotta fix dinner for the clan, so bye and have a wonderful evening. Thanks for the stream. Goodbye, Renola Dominguez. Good luck with dinner. Andrew just had a great dinner. Wonderful. Oh, it's doodle time with Mr. Zapata and friends, says Faded Ink, you betcha. Jorge Ramirez says, Hola, Steven. ¿Cuál es tu obra de arte representativa favorita de un monstruo o criatura? Sorry, my Spanish is awful. What is my... I love monster drawings. What is my favorite monster drawing? It's probably a Frazetta. But there's many like equal favorites there for me. I've always loved this kind of, there's a Frazetta painting that I want to say is called Fire Demon. That is just like always on my mind. This one. It is called Fire Demon. I love that painting. What are other good Frazetta monster drawings? All his cats are great. His like cat monsters are awesome. He has a great ink drawing of like a chubby troll that I've always loved. Yeah, it's probably a bunch of Frazetta pieces. Oh, his Mothman is awesome. That's such a cool fucking painting. How do you even get there in your head? God damn it. God damn it. Nope, too much in my face. I don't like that. Frazetta always gave his girls the thickest thighs. Please don't speak ludities on this stream. We're good Christians here. I won't tolerate stuff like that on this stream. We don't discuss things like the thickness on here. Let's not commit to that one yet. Frazetta has some amazing Frankenstein's monster paintings. Really makes me want to watch old films to do paint studies on paused frames. Go for it. Frazetta was the best. Oh, hello, puppy. Didn't Frazetta also lie about not using reference? Oh, yes. He lied about just about everything. getting very windy outside. Trying to monitor if it's gonna start blowing the rain through my window right onto my desk. Steven, you should stream to Twitch. Negative. Negative. What's wrong, pup? Hold on, let me make sure she didn't get locked out of her, where her crate is. Because sometimes when it's very windy, that door gets shut. What's wrong? Haru says, hey Steven, how do you enjoy random casual sketching like this? I feel like I can only enjoy drawing when it's for something meaningful or a bigger project. Yeah, people tend to fall on one side or the other. You're either a sketcher or a finisher. Most people need to balance with a little bit from the other side. I am definitely a natural sketcher. Learning to finish was a painful process for me. I never had any problem doing 200 sketches a day or anything like that. Jorge says, hablando de Frazetta, ¿por qué crees que su arte tiene tanta influencia después de tantos años? I mean, Frazetta influenced just about everything with his work. So you can't really get Frazetta out of fantasy anymore or anything like that. But I really think it just comes down to they were great pictures. That's it. They're just almost nobody is that good. It's a very, very rare level of achievement. I don't really think there's... I think that really does kind of explain it all. I really do. You could try to make it academic and link it with all these other things, but I think with Frazetta, it's just the raw quality is so powerful. The raw quality is so powerful that it's just, it'll always stand the test of time, because whenever anybody sees those paintings, they'll go, that's awesome. That's always going to be the case, you know? Hello, Boxer Wing. Kamines says, hi, Stephen. My husband is a fan of your work. Can you give him a shout out right now? He is watching you. His name is Pierre-Luc. He needs a boost. Thanks, Pierre-Luc. Consider this a shout out. Thank you for being a fan. You're the best. Whatever you're doing right now, whatever is happening to you in your life, a sweet, small, slightly chubby, cherubic Stephen avatar is alighting ever so gently on your shoulder. And I'm just propping myself right there like this. Just like a little Baroque little cherub. And from this moment on, I will be there always. I will always be there with you, on your shoulder. Whenever things get tough, I'll always be there to remind you, like, let's go look at some demons. Whenever you're like, oh my God, I'm so lost, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I've got an idea. Let's imagine demons. And you'll be like, oh, right, yeah. So congratulations, Pierre-Luc. That's always gonna be with you from now on. Tim says, Stephen, I'm starting to get really into digital painting and I really wanted to mainly use the hard round brush, but I have a terrible time trying to control edges with it, with only the opacity jitter. Any suggestions on how to do it? If you need soft edges, just use the airbrush. Don't rely just on opacity jitter. Don't get married to the hard round, just solely it. There's certain jobs that it's the airbrush that should be doing them, so use the airbrush. I use the airbrush all the time. And you have the full spectrum here, right? You can go 100% hardness, 0% hardness. I've got one of my presets here, I think this one is, 42%. So you've always got options. Happy to help, Kamvas. Steven, do you believe in muses? Depends what you mean by believe. I don't, I don't really believe in like spirits, but in the context of art, I do have some pretty radical beliefs. And one of those is that the art practice can be crafted to be however you would like, and not in like some mere way. You can really craft any crazy kind of thing you could want for your art practice. And within that context, I think that muses make sense. And I think that you can experience muses as real in that context. And I think that they can improve your art. That's a very, very complicated discussion to try to shorthand there. Would you like to be my muse? Well, it's not really up to me, is it? Any tips for dealing with pain near the rhomboid? No. That's the blind leading the blind on that one. You got to go to fitness people for help with your back. I've been trying to stretch more lately. This year in general. It's about all the advice I can give. What's up? I'm on stream.
Yeah, no, this is important.
What?
If I wanted to search for that video of Kanye West in the Wrecking Ralph.
Oh my god. Are you guys high?
Just tell me what I want to do.
Just tell me if you're high. Shit, give me a sec. It's Kanye West as a Tame Impala song. That's what it is.
Right. Yes, it's Kanye West as a Tame Impala song.
Tame Impala song.
Tame Impala, that's who the band is, yes. Okay, thank you.
All right, have fun.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's not illegal to not listen to music. It's illegal to be naked. You only been doing the education. You don't realize I'm so frustrated. I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google, you ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. Oh. Was that Ahmed Al-Duri? No. That was not Ahmed. I can't unsee the two golden bands as legs, chicken lady. That's funny. I like that. I have a condition called synesthesia. I see sounds, I see them. Ooh. Got some beautiful post-storm lighting out my window right now. Ooh, that's nice. That is real nice. Got to admit, that is real nice. Whoops. I don't know how I knocked my screen capture around. There we go, that's better. Hello, Chady on Fire. Come On Feet says, curious to know at what point you decided to focus on pencil for non-work art. Was it a conscious decision or did it just work out that way? It's just because it's what makes me happiest. It's how I do my best work, and it's the most relaxing. Just like, it really has everything going for it, so. Once I realized that, it was just kind of obvious what way things were going to go. Drawing in pencil was always the thing I loved most, but when I was trying to figure out, you know, going into the profession that I wanted to go into, design, it was just very clear to me that I needed to know how to do digital, or else, I mean, not only did it make the work more viable commercially, but I wanted to know, because as much as I love drawing in pencil, I don't love redrawing and redrawing and redrawing in pencil. And when you're doing commercial work, there's a lot of redoing, doing corrections, things like that. Steven, is there a scientific study on chemicals that flood the brain naturally when we make art versus playing video games or being forgetful? I don't know. I don't know. But you certainly don't need a study to let you know how you feel about that. It's like whatever the studies would say about what chemical interactions are going on in there, you don't experience those chemical interactions directly. You only ever experience how you feel. So. Steven, boring technical question, but what do you use to get the darker tones of those local colors? Is it as simple as just using multiply mode? I'm doing everything opaque right now. If I'm yellow in the color wheel, if I want darker, I'm just going darker. Well, sorry, that's a habit to shift the hue, but I don't think I've been doing that much here. Just like, I go down, darker. For design sketches like this, I'm keeping the colors very like localized, like very simple, because I'm just trying to map positions and shapes and things like that. I'm not varying the hue much as, I'm not varying the hue as much as I lighten and darken the colors, because that's more of a concession to ambient light considerations. And that's very appropriate when doing a painting, but doing a design sketch is just like, you're just trying to say, this is yellow. And I'm using the values just to clarify things and make forms bend in important ways and things like that, but that's it. These designs are giving Draculaura. That's cool. I don't hate that. Colors like yellow, always have to put some red in it as it gets darker, because if you don't shift the hue, yellow becomes kind of greenish very quickly. I'm curious if you ever used the Zorn palette? Nope. I don't think so. Maybe back when I was doing a lot of oil painting, maybe I did once or twice just out of curiosity. But I don't think my results were very compelling, or else they'd stand out to me more, right? Zorn's palette being, what is it, white, black, Venetian red, yellow ochre, and ultramarine blue, something like that. Boxerwing says, I'm pushing myself today, trying to draw a realistic hand with tree bark for skin. Nice. Push. Push. Yeah, it was the yellows I was most curious about because the shadows give them the appearance of being gold. Yeah, usually if you pump some orange into the darker parts of yellow, that kind of inclines it towards gold because where gold faces itself. If you have a gold object, my brain's running like, how to explain that, how to explain that, how to explain that. Metals color the light that bounces off of them. So every time light bounces off of gold, it gets turned a golden hue, which is not really the case with all other materials, right? If you look at the highlight on a jar of toothpaste or something like that, something very plasticky, the highlight just stays the color of the light. So if it's a white light, it bounces, the specular is white. But gold will, any color light, it'll incline it towards a golden color. So the light bounces off of gold more golden. And if that light then bounces into a shadowed part of the same gold object, it's getting double golded and it gets very hot, very orange, very red, very quickly. Is there any context backstory to these characters? Right now, yeah. These I'm vaguely heading towards something that I need to design for a project right now. I wasn't doing that over there on the left though. Dragon-looking creatures you did at the beginning are kind of cute. Kind of cute. Kind of cute. Let's use a... See if using a different brush will knock some other things loose. Hi Zapata, can you kindly please tell me what your monitor spec? I think it's in the description of this stream. Yeah, it's down there. Kamvas 24 Pro 4K. Hi, Stephen. What are your thoughts on pen tablets in comparison with display tablets? I used pen tablets for most of my life. I only recently switched to using a display tablet. I think it depends on you, your process, what kind of work you do. Both are great. If you do a lot of this is a generalization, but people who do a lot of line work tend to prefer to have a display tablet because it allows greater precision. But I've seen some of the tightest line work that I've ever seen. A particular friend of mine who I'm thinking of, she did all her ultra tight line work with a display tablet. Not a display tablet, a regular tablet she wasn't drawing on the screen. So anything's possible with either. And again, the other side of their generalization is if you paint more, you paint with big blobs of value and color, it's usually people feel more comfortable doing that for long hours with a regular tablet because you don't have to hunch over the screen. You just sit back, very ergonomic, small hand movements become big brush strokes. Silence, sweet doggy. Ooh, my little pepperoni. Sweet silence now. No talking. No barking. I need the silence of the great sages from you now, pup. A deep and abiding silence. Hello, Nate. Thank you. Anamro says, I actually have a question now. No more yapping. I've noticed that when I'm doing a big project, it's a clear goal that has an endpoint. But when I'm taking a break to recharge, I feel lost, like I'm not doing anything towards creating or practicing, so I feel lost. What should I do during these long periods of rest? If you're a very creative person, then and you're trying to do big projects and you're heading towards goals, things like that, you're in a very difficult situation because creating is what you need to do, right? That's what you're trying to be productive doing. And often for many of us, creating is also what recharges us. It's also what makes us feel better. It's also how we rest. So it's often useful to have multiple projects. There's you got to be careful because it's easy to just get completely overloaded. But for a lot of artists, doing 2 or 3 projects at the same time is like when you take a break from one, you can go work on another. That can feel good. Again, if you push it too far, you get too heavy with both, it's gonna exhaust you. But a lot of people do have success running a couple projects concurrently. Or you could just do something else that's creative, but is a totally different medium, or like you take a break from your art by going to write or something like that. But yeah, a lot of really, really creative people are just not gonna ever feel quite right if they aren't creating. You know, that's the way things can go. I think that you can tune the knobs on that as the years go on. I think because a lot of that for a lot of people can be driven by guilt. And it's like, whatever amount of that is wholesome is great. If you just need to be creating all the time and you've analyzed the motivations there and you know they're all wholesome, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But whatever amount of that is driven by guilt, that's no good. And that, I think most people need to excise. They need to cut that off. So as the years go on, I think you need to get really precise about what part of it is guilt, what part of it is guilt, what part of it is guilt, cut that off. And then you may find that you can really discover in a new way, sometimes for a lot of artists in a way that they haven't been able to do in their whole life before. You can just discover new ways to rest. You can just find, I really mean it, like you can be in your 30s and rest for the first time ever and realize, oh, since I was a kid, I haven't rested. I haven't relaxed. I haven't just let myself do absolutely nothing. And that can be very freeing. That can be very, very freeing for a lot of people. If you've never had that, it's vital, probably. That thumbnail on the left is so good, says Jerry. Thank you. Do you think the Intuos is overpriced like most Wacom products? Tablets are very not advanced. I think they're basically all the same at this point. That's my personal opinion. They're not very advanced tools. They've been about this good since the 90s. And the companies that make them are not really in a position to innovate on them. Autumn Rose says, thanks for the advice. Self-reflection is hard, but I remember in one of your vids, you said the point of art is to know your soul. So I think self-reflection is unavoidable, in a good way though. I would agree. I think it's actually one of the greatest joys of the art journey. Not for everyone, but if it's of interest to you at all. For those of us who are interested, I think, yeah, it winds up being one of the best parts. That one's weird. I don't hate that. I like weird. Let's see, what do I want to do? I want to take a little break from that. Should I poke at our fisherman's? It's in the old sketchbook here. I wonder why some of my PSD thumbnails are not loading. Hi, Stephen. I'm a finisher type of artist, and I don't know how to get into the mindset of one who sketches a lot. Any advice? Feel like I'm missing out on untapped fun in the world of sketching. You just got to follow the fun. You know, no one else's answer is going to work for something like that. Try different mediums. Try all sorts of different tools. Look at some of the great sketchers of history to get you excited. Sometimes you just need to find that artist whose sketches like speak to you more than anything else, you know? Hey, Felipe. Hello, unknown. For me, Frazetta's work in his sketchbook his little pencil drawings. There's several books that have a lot of his sketches compiled, ripped out of his little sketchbooks. That really got me going when I was young. I was like, this has just a surging beauty that is only for sketches. But again, I was a natural sketcher. Finishing was my problem, not sketching. And hey, you know, don't force anything. It might not be the right time for you. You might just be in a period where you really just need to finish everything. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the better problem to have as far as I'm concerned. You can build a career on finishes, but it's very hard to build a career on sketches. Is it bad that the only art that has me doing backflips is degenerate stuff? Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like you think it's bad. I mean, if you think it's bad and you're doing backflips over it, it's probably bad. Hold on, let me bring my dog's bed in here. You're sad facing at me, I know. Oh shit, did we leave your bed? Oh no. Ew. Have you ever worked on something where you found yourself in a situation where you had to study something on the fly? Like, for example, you've never drawn armor before, but the job requires you to. All the time. All the time. It's extremely common. That's just part of the process. I think a talented sketcher can have a pretty successful career in animation. Yep. It narrows your options, but it's definitely possible. Anything's possible in art. You finishing this one? Nice. Thank you, Chady. I don't know if I'm finishing it. I'm certainly working on it. But this is definitely still in the category of random stream eruptions, so. I would probably only push all the way right now things that are directly linked to the projects I'm working on. I'm just having fun poking at it for now. Chat is going down a deep rabbit hole right now. I can have nothing to do with this. The ocean, sea, and subterranean has some of the best muse inspirations for artists used for aliens, cryptids. Love it. Yes, deep sea creatures are the most fucked up things. Big fan, big fan. Do you remember, BF Jerky says, do you remember a moment where you became good enough and understood enough of the basics that you went, I can draw everything now? It wasn't a moment. I definitely, yeah, there's no moment I could say that was. I do definitely feel like I entered some phase where I was like, I think that's true now, but I don't remember a specific moment. I think it was a smooth gradation, you know? Hello, Ayub. Good morning. Awake, arise, or be forever fallen. Thank you, Karim. Michulu says, I was wondering if you have any recent examples of your work where you've rendered fur specifically, like on your monsters. Fur. No, I don't think I've done any fur recently. Have I? I don't think anything recent. Nothing on this computer, that's for sure. It's the last furry thing I drew. I wonder if... Are my Yetis online? Let's see if I Google Steven Zapata Yeti. Negative. No, sorry, I don't have anything to show you. Tumas53 says, hello, Steven. I feel like most of the ideas I have don't convince me to draw. And I feel like the John Travolta looking around meme. Any tips? I mean, the only long-term solution is you need to increase the quality of your ideas. That doesn't mean the objective quality. I mean, how subjectively interesting you find them. You got to do work that really resonates with you. You know, if you go really deep into your own personal interests, go really far out with them, and find sort of a bleeding edge where you can make art that is sort of discovering new things about the stuff you care about. I know that that's a really vague thing to say, but that's what really high-end difficult art is for a lot of high-end artists. If you can find that, you'll really care about your work and you'll want to do the drawings. You'll want to do the drawings. Side question, does anyone know anything about Ahmed Al-Duri? I haven't seen him in so long. Hope he's doing fine. Don't you worry about Med. Med takes a lot of time off these days, travels a lot. Every time I see him, Med's happy. Don't you worry about him. Oh, he's doing just fine. Steven, have you ever run into the problem of struggling to draw something and not being able to find the references to fix it? I mean, every now and then, but if you expand your skill set, like if you learn a little 3D modeling, little photography. You can almost always make your own reference to solve a problem. Nobody on the internet says, let me tell you a situation, Stephen. A friend of mine got angry with me because I say that I have no artist that I use as reference, and then my drawings come to my mind without much study and reference. But he is angry because he says it is impossible. I draw like I draw without reference. Sure, why not? He stopped talking with you? Yeah, I mean, that's silly. That's silly. That's nothing to lose a friend over. I mean, if you guys were less friends and more like art associates, then yeah, maybe you can have a riff like that over deep philosophical disagreements over art, but I don't know, even there, it's kind of dumb. I mean, there's plenty of artists who are just kind of trying. There's plenty of artists who are just trying to do their own thing. And I mean, really like trying, like they actively try to avoid influence as much as possible. And you can try to do that, or it can happen naturally. I don't think it's impossible at all. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're like zero influence is of course impossible because, you know, what have you never seen a movie, you know, or an animation that you like or something like that? But yeah, I think there's plenty of artists who don't really connect with other people's art. You know, maybe that's an unusual thing, but that does happen. I've met artists like that. There is the occasional artist who is just like not an art fan. Bro, anybody ever tell you look like Labama's brother? Like y'all both draw and everything. I don't know who Labama is. Mustafa says, Steven, my obsession nowadays is graphics tablet and display tablets. I've gone rather insane to make sense of it. What is the quality of your current and previous tablets? I actually talked about this earlier, and maybe it's a controversial opinion, but I really do believe this. Graphics tablets and display tablets universally suck, and they're not advanced products. They've been about this good since the 1990s, and they really have not improved basically any appreciable amount. I mean, people did the same quality of work and some of the best work ever using Intuos 1 and 2s from the 80s. It's just, there hasn't been a revolution in the technology behind digitizer tablets in 40 years. I think they're basically all shit. I think the one that I use is like good for the price. It still kind of sucks. I use the Huion Kamvas. Well, it's in the description. My tablet, since you're asking, my current tablet is in the description of the stream. I always forget exactly what it is the Kamvas 4K 24 Pro or whatever, but you can get the name in there. It's acceptable to me for the price. I would never buy a Cintiq unless I heard some huge change in them. They're way overpriced, dim screen. Most of them are low. You know, they're still full HD, 1080p, which is just ridiculous. Who's working in, how can you work on big files in 1080p anymore? And Cintiqs are very low quality panels. The pixels get stuck and die all the time. I don't have any stuck pixels or dead pixels on the Huion Kamvas, but it does have light leak around the edges and stuff like that. I just don't care. They're crappy products. My Kamvas, you know, it takes a long time to turn on. Every hour, probably at least once per sitting, my canvas will randomly completely turn off, go black for 5 to 10 seconds, and then turn itself back on. I don't have high expectations for these products. They're just not great. They're just not great products. Same goes for the regular digitizer tablets. Most of the cheaper ones now, you know, Huion, XP Pen, things like that, they're about as good as the name brand high quality ones. What about the iPad Pro, Steven? It's really not that different. I recommend the iPad Pro to a lot of beginners because it's also a full computer. It's like, if you don't have a computer that can do digital art yet, the iPad Pro is like one of the lowest barriers to entry. Just because it's a pretty powerful computer. Procreate can do really high-end work while being a good quality drawing tablet. But besides that, I mean, the iPad Pro is more expensive than a Kamvas, and I generally enjoy drawing on the Kamvas more than the iPad Pro, but that's mostly because it gives me access to Photoshop where I'm very comfortable. You know, it's like the fact that the biggest news even in the iPad Pro is like, whoa, the new version has pen hover. It's like, okay, so even Apple is struggling to get up to the level that the Intuos One was at in the 1980s. They're just not, it's all marketing. They've been this good for all intents and purposes since the 1980s. I mean, Craig Mullins did a speed run on everything that's possible in digital art with a mouse back in the 90s. I mean, his work still holds up. His work from the early 90s still holds up. It's like there's, you know, they're not great products. Don't worry about it. Release your obsession. Release your obsession. This is why I have been offered many review models of every kind of tablet. I mean, I get sponsorship emails, like review emails. I get at least one a day. I don't take them. I've gotten many from all of the tablet manufacturers. Not Wacom. Have I? No, I don't think Wacom. Maybe Wacom. I don't really, I let them all go into folders. I never look at them. But all the other ones, Huion, XP Pen, all that, they've all wanted me to review things and things like that. I already know my review. It's not good, man. It's not good. They're all very mediocre products. They're all very mediocre products. It's a very small market, all things told. And you don't really need anything super high-end for using Photoshop and things like that. My Cintiq is 4K, but yeah, there's one small stuck pixel. It's like, yeah, I mean, I hope yours doesn't get worse, but it tends to get worse. And it's like, for a $4,000 product, it's like, really? You're gonna ship with stuck pixels? Manny, how are you, man? Good to talk to you. Manny says, Steven, I haven't drawn in a few weeks after finishing some projects. Will I explode into oblivion now and turn into a Cintiq? I think you will, man. I think you will. You gotta do something, Manny. You gotta do a drawing before you explode and turn into a Cintiq, dude. Quick, Manny, just grab the nearest pencil and just do any sketch, any drawing, dude. Hurry before you turn into a Cintiq, man. Don't let it happen, man. We love you, bro. Bro. Please, bro. Please, bro, for us. Don't become a Cintiq, man. Daniel says, so Steven, do you think we should get whatever Huion or XP Pen or Wacom we see on discount just because they're mostly the same? Yeah, basically. Yeah. The only, like, it's gonna come down to personal preference, just like we mentioned before. Some people prefer a screen. Often that's people who do a lot of line art. Other people will prefer a non-display tablet because they want to be more comfortable while they draw. They don't want to hunch over the screen. And then some people, if you're using a non-display tablet, some people prefer a smaller one and some people prefer a bigger one. I've always preferred smaller ones. I find the bigger ones cumbersome. Same goes for a lot of my friends. Once you've tried both, you find actually that your process tends to align with one more than the other. I like the smaller ones. I usually got mediums. I used a large one for a while, and I just can never quite get used to it, the really big one. It was nice that it helped you throw longer lines, but it's like over long sessions, it just like, it's much easier. If it's your job and you're doing it for 8 hours a day, every day, it really does save you a lot of energy to just do a stroke of any size based on your zoom level is just happening with these tiny finger movements. So it depends on your process. It's not about the quality of the tablets. They're all basically the same. Yeah. Goodbye, Domer. Raphael says, I'm from the third world and me and my artist friends used to dream about having screen tablets. Hearing you say they are shit helps alleviate the hype. I'm glad. Yeah, I've tried them basically all, and don't buy into the hype. So I know so many professional artists who got screen tablets, Cintiqs and stuff like that, and realized it wasn't for them, it was not comfortable, sent it back or sold it, and went back to a non-display tablet. I know so many artists who have done that. Where do people put their keyboards when using big graphics tablet? I can't seem to find a good setup with easy access to both. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I always preferred the smaller ones, because I would put the tablet more off to the side. So I know, I'd put the tablet more off to the side and my keyboard more in the middle. So I was kind of like not arcing my drawing hand inward. It was like my drawing hand was being held very ergonomically, like staying at my side and going straight out. And I would use the small tablet over here, and it was more like my keyboard was directly in front of me. And that was a very ergonomic setup for a very long time. When I used a big tablet, I would sort of crab like this, and I would have my big tablet close to me, often actually like touching my chest, and I would have the keyboard above it. So I'd kind of be like this. And that's actually not horribly uncomfortable. I drew like that for many, many, many years. That explains why I find the experience on my old 2019 tablet to be the same with the latest one I purchased. They have not found a way to improve these things. All the tech has been there. They've been trying to shove. The only thing that ever happens every year is that they're like, now we have 85,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. It's like, it feels the same as 1024 did. And 1024 feels basically the same that 512 did. It's not changing anything. They have not been able to revolutionize the product in decades. Every barrel rotation, tilt rotation, those have all been there since the 90s. There's just nothing to add, unless they really change the overall structure. As we've talked about, I've mentioned this on stream before, but there's no reason that a tablet needs to be with a stylus. If processing power improves and stuff like that, you can just have a generally sensitive pad that you can rub anything against, including just a paintbrush that you buy at Michael's, and it can sense everything that's touching it and translate that into a stroke in something like Photoshop. That is absolutely possible. And if anyone makes that thing, you probably make $1 billion. The problem is the sheer amount of processing power and the flexibility of that software that would require, and that not jiving with the overhead that computers have to run Photoshop and stuff like that. For now, we're trapped with these pretty rudimentary plastic things that just really are not that advanced. I promise you, if you have a smartwatch or something like that, your phone is definitely more advanced than a graphics tablet. Your Apple Watch or any smartwatch you have on is probably more advanced than a graphics tablet. They are just not, they're not fancy products. Hate to say it, folks. Sorry, Wacom, but you guys know. You guys are probably sweating it in the boardroom every quarter. They're just not, they're not sophisticated. They're not cool. They were a necessity a while ago, but they're not, they're not woo, what they try to present with their sizzle reels of all these swoops of color flying over screens and stuff like that. The digitizer panels make the LCD worse. Like, you pay $2,000 for a Cintiq, pay $2,000 for a Cintiq, and then pay $2,000 for a TV and put them next to each other. Holy fuck. Wow, the TV is way better. It's insane how much better the TV is. The digitizer, by necessity of the current model of the tech, the digitizer makes the screen much worse. It lowers the contrast ratios, it adds a layer of noise, it makes everything slightly blurrier. It makes it worse. It's like, this is just not a great piece of tech, and it's not gonna be until things change a lot. I think Jazza did a video with a big TV that was sensitive enough for him to draw on it with an actual paintbrush. Is that true? Is that a real thing? I'm not seeing it when I search Jazza TV drawn. Would that really be a TV though? What kind of TV can you draw on? Doesn't make much sense to me. Well, if you find it, send it to me. I'll check that out. Because I've had that thought in mind for a long time, but is it, I got the world's biggest drawing tablet? Maybe this is it.
Limitations pretty quick.
Let's see. I think I found it. This is now a reaction channel.
Everyone's been saying I need a new phone, so I got a new phone. But I thought I'd go fancy, because you know those, like, you know the flip phones? I thought I'd get a Samsung Flip, because it's like the height of technology. They're bigger than I expected, gotta be honest. And it flips open from that. It's getting ridiculous, isn't it? This won't fit in my pocket. Look, obviously you know why you clicked on this video. This is apparently a screen that you can draw on, and it's freaking huge. And I got a freaking huge one. I want to explain.
Oh, but no, I think this is like a whiteboard type of thing. Hold on a second.
Bit of finicky. By relatively constantly eyedropping, you can create some nice gradients, and I guess depending on the texture you're trying to put down, in this case, clouds and the sky, and moving on to, oh, it makes it, that's really cool. Okay, so I've been advertised to believe that this works with brushes. It does have pressure sensitivity. It doesn't change the brush shape, even if I change the brush size. Oh, that's smaller. It does. That's really cool. Okay.
No, but that's not really quite it. It's like a very sensitive whiteboard. And I think it's sensing just a general, like the size of the inductive contact, but that's not quite gonna do it. You know, we really would need to, what we're talking about here is not a whiteboard product, but a very serious, like professional art creation product where it could sense the individual hairs. And that can't be impossible. That's got to be possible. It's just extremely processor intensive.
Okay, so hang on.
And I think it should be possible with anything you touch to it. It should clearly be possible if you ship the brush with it. You know, it could be fiber optic bristles that literally sort of inductively touch the brush, but that touch the surface. But I think it should be possible with goddamn anything. You should be able to rub a rock against this advanced tablet and it will draw the shape of however the rock is rubbing against the tablet.
Wide, full pressure, you know, okay, it's not the most graceful thing on the planet. I think you need the right kind of brushes. This one feels pretty good. This feels really good. Give that a go. Yeah, now mix that with, okay, yeah, it's mixing. This is good. This is a good art thing. Haha. Got the ball rolling. Let's actually make some cool art and actions pretty quickly. At the same time, I was like very surprised as to how good it could look with a little bit of finicky. By relatively constantly eyedropping, you could create some nice gradients, and I guess depending on the texture you're trying to put down.
See,
in this case,
the variation that Jaws is getting here is coming from being at low opacity and working into it a lot. Like, this isn't that different from, you know, sort of cruder programs like, you know, that painting program that is on the Switch or that used to be on the 3DS, right? I think it was called Colors. It's like, it really didn't have that much power. It's just like, you could kind of fake it if you were willing to sit there because, you know, you'd work low opacity, build up variation, craft each individual stroke. But that stuff's just never going to be on the level of even Photoshop, because Photoshop, you don't need to obsessively craft every aspect. You can trust Photoshop to leave interesting edges and things like that. It's not from the power of the screen, you can tell.
Vastly underwhelming painting experience without pressure sensitivity and with it being a fairly slow response rate as far as, you know, touch and style. Cool.
Yeah, we'd need something much, much, much better, but the fact that you can touch it with anything is good, but I think it's probably a pretty crude, just raw touch. And yeah, he says the latency is very bad and all that. Does anyone remember those smart boards from elementary school? Yeah, that's the vibe that it gives me. Why are you streaming at this hour? I just woke up. I'm not on your schedule. What the hell? Stream whenever I want. Yes, so in conclusion, graphics tablets suck, all of them, and there's no need to obsess over them. Just get whichever one you can afford. They're all basically the same. And just cross your fingers that the drivers for the one that you got work nice with your OS. If you're gonna research anything, I'll give that as a piece of advice. If you're gonna research anything about a tablet, don't buy into the hype on pressure sensitivity levels, all that horse shit. Go on a forum and ask someone who has the tablet you're thinking about, do you use the same OS as me and do the drivers work nicely? Because you get the most expensive tablet, all of their drivers, oh my God, Wacom's especially, you'll want to rip your fucking hair out. It's crazy making. Terrible, terrible drivers. Get one that plays nice with your OS. Hello, JP in Brooklyn. Glad you're here. Hello to Andre Castellan. Lax says, Steven, philosophical question. What does it mean to be 15 easy, dog? There's only one thing it could mean. It means you gotta be 15 easy, dog. All right, we're done watching Jazza. We're done being a reaction channel, so let's put the music back on. Hey, Zeka. I'm doing all right. How are you? Oh, it's getting pretty late here. Damn near my bedtime soon. Keep forgetting it's Monday. It's a holiday here in the US, so in my head, I keep thinking it's Sunday, but it is no longer Sunday. Steven, can you just make stream highlights about you ranting about pen displays tablets so people looking for reviews can easily find it on YouTube? Call the video the only pen tablet review you need? I probably should do that. And you know what? If that video were to pop off, XP Pen and Helion and Wacom would still frickin' email me saying, please review our tablets, because it's all automated. There's no people on the other side of those friggin' things. It's all just... We live in a blasted algorithmic warren. It would literally, they would copy paste into the email. They would say, Steven, we've been watching your YouTube. We especially liked your video, all graphics tablets suck. We're wondering if you'd be interested in an opportunity to show our premium product on your channel. It's all crap. It really is all crap. We let it all go to crap, folks. We gave it all away for free. You gotta fight. Be creative, everybody. It's the only thing left. It is the only thing left. Focus on your drawing. Focus on your inner life. Work on your skills. Make yourself proud. That's all that's left. Everything else is a goddamn ad. Jack Foster says, Steven just joined, so don't know if anyone has said so, but happy Memorial Day, GOAT. Thank you, Jack. Happy Memorial Day to you too. Steven, what new conspiracies you into? LOL, seriously? Seriously? I want to believe the Vatican has a UFO so bad. I want to believe the Vatican has a UFO so bad, man. Cause it'd be so old, and like a bishop and a cardinal and the Pope would have seen it, and it's probably in some cool fucking basement that's like either vaulted masonry or, oh my God, please keep the UFO in like a Vatican museum style room where it's all like Baroque filigree and gilding and there's Caravaggios on the wall. Like, please tell me that the Vatican has the UFO in a room where they're also keeping Renaissance paintings that clearly show UFOs. Like they're putting it all in the same room. Please, I want to believe that's so bad. I want to believe it's so bad. Anna Rude says, but at least the new buyers will be saved. I never heard the specific cons of pen displays until I actually bought. You were the only one talking about those same specific problems. That's interesting. I think people really, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people are just really, sorry, my neighbor's setting off fireworks. Happy Memorial Day. It's gonna upset my dog though. She's all right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe people are really like... Is that really loud for you guys? I'm gonna mute for a second, sorry. I was trying to get a look, but my view was blocked. I forget what I was talking about, sorry. Shit, I should tell my wife to grab me a slice of pizza on the way home, because I skipped dinner. Am I hungry? Actually, I don't think I'm hungry. I was just gonna eat out of habit there. Like, well, you didn't eat dinner. You gotta eat. We get fireworks all year round in my city. That's gotta be rough on the dogs. Or I guess the dogs get used to it, right? Mr. President, get down! That's funny. You could buy an awful lot of paper and pencils for the cost of a Cintiq. You sure can. Oh, they're setting off some bigger ones now. Steven, what's his name? Claddledorps. Yep. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. But obviously his name is Claddledorps. And his friend back here is Skunsnienstien. Just tuned in, what drawing app are you using? I use Procreate. This is Photoshop. Procreate's great though. I've used Procreate a lot. Shady on Fire says, Steven, man, I gotta sleep. I demand you stop the stream. All right, it's over. I'm just kidding. We're still going. We're still going. The thing that sucks when they set off fireworks is that then my dog gets scared, and then when I take her out to poop, she doesn't want to poop. She's afraid of hearing the fireworks again, and she just wants to jump back inside. She's like, we gotta get the hell out of here. What's wrong with you? This is a fucking war zone. You serious? Why are we out here? Zega says, Steven, about your course, why does primary shapes comes after so many exercises that already use shapes and form? Just curious on the insight. You can tell someone that the primary shape of a chest is a cube, but if they don't understand what a cube is, it doesn't really help them that much. And since the course tries to be like completely thorough, like just beginning to end, just a complete introduction to form and how it interacts, it needs to start with, this is what a cube actually is. You think you know what a cube is, but until you've set up the perspective grid for a cube and then carefully rendered a cube, you don't actually get it, you know? What's up? Are you trying to remember another Kanye West remix?
No, but I got a good one for you later.
Oh yeah, you found something something new to add to the library.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Are you still streaming?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay.
What's up?
Welcome back now.
Oh, okay. Well, it's getting pretty late. I'll start my signing off and how long? Yeah, because I've already been going for 3.5 hours. So I'll start my signing off process and I'll be off by the time you get here. You done for the night?
Yeah, I'm just walking back.
Are you gonna want to go to bed or are you trying to hang out?
No,
Go to bed? Okay.
okay.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Michulu says, your wisdom has granted some profound clairvoyance into what it means to be an artist. Ah, yes, my incredible wisdom. The wisdom I have about drawing fishermans. Yes, I am rather wise, aren't I? Yes, very astute of you to notice. I am wise, aren't I? Yes, yes. Hello, Wes. I love how this creature dude Steven is painting is looking at the camera with a, huh? You want something, bud expression?
What? What are you doing here? This is my squamous swamp home. Oh, him? That's just Smart Snake Nerves. Don't worry about him. He's a cool guy once you get to know him. He's a little cheap with the reimbursing when you spot the check at dinner. But all in all, he's a good dude.
All right, I'm gonna start signing off here. So if anybody else has any last questions before we sign off, I'll be on for another 5-10 minutes, something like that. We've been going for a while here. Doing a lot of drawing tonight. A lot of drawing tonight. It's never a Steven Zapata stream without a rant against graphics tablets. Always got to get one in there. Maybe one day they'll have an impact and the graphics tablet companies will actually revolutionize their product. I mean, for the longest time, it was just Wacom, like XP Pen, Huion, all that. They only showed up once Wacom's patent on electromagnetic resonance pens expired. It was like all those companies just knew that no one wanted a pen that needed to be plugged in or had a battery in it. Wacom completely dominated the market because they had a patent on a pen that didn't need to be charged. It just worked forever. As soon as that patent was up and everyone could rip them off, all these other companies showed up, but it's the exact same tech. They're just, oh good, we can just do the exact same tech now. And no one has improved anything, made anything better. It's all nonsense. How does one come up with ideas for what to draw? Oh, that's up to each individual artist. Some people do fan art. Some people get inspired by movies. I get inspired a lot by stuff I read, stuff like that. I'm also just very inspired by the act of drawing. Not everybody's like that. I definitely am. One of the main things that makes me return to the drawing board is a new idea for a new way to draw. And that is one of the things that has brought me back to the drawing board over and over and over again over the years. That's a very inspirational thing for me. It varies from artist to artist. I got something stuck in my throat. How should one approach master studies, specifically internet artists I like? Sorry, guys. Sorry, got a bug in my throat. Not an actual bug, of course. You could do master studies anyway. The general piece of advice I give on here is try to do them the way you actually plan on drawing. Try not to change the way you intuitively draw. Try to copy the master you're studying in the way that you move your hand, the way that you structure your painting, the way that you do your process. Unless you know that artist's process and part of the copy is that you're trying to do their process. You're dissatisfied with yours, you're trying to do theirs exactly. But make sure that you actually know that if you're gonna do that. Make sure, I wouldn't do that with something where you only have the piece. I would only do that because then you're just guessing and you probably don't actually have any idea what the artist's process is. I would only do that if you're working from a specific tutorial that they did where they've outlined their process. If you're just working from an image, just do it your way. Try not to change the way you draw because that's not a given. Most people intuitively, when they're copying, they draw different. They clam up, they get very stiff. Try to resist that, don't let that happen. Try to draw as if you're not looking at anything. Draw your normal way. Running some nightshades right now. Nice. Any cool updates that you are aware of? Nothing that I can talk about, unfortunately. I apologize for asking it, Stephen. Did not mean to work you up. That's no problem. I talk about that. People bring up the tablet thing all the time. Senior Bob says, hola, did you use reference for this, Stephen, or is it all from imagination? No reference for this one. This one's all from imagination. Stephen got a bug in his throat, like a programming bug, not like an insect bug, because we live in a Why are you making that face? Dude, my dog looks so cute. She's under my desk because of the fireworks. She's just under my desk, like sitting, just like with her ears back and her eyes huge. Even though there hasn't been fireworks in a good 5 minutes now, she just looks so freaked out. You okay, babe? She's gonna be so mad when I walk her. She's gonna be very mad. All right, everybody. I'm gonna head out. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna get my dog out. I'm gonna try to meet my wife on her walk back. Cold or lukewarm water? These days I drink a lot of lukewarm, not because it's my preference, but because cold water hurts my wife's teeth. So we don't keep separate waters. So we do, I have no problem with lukewarm water. But that's what I drink these days. But my preference is cold, really cold. Stephen, watch Dark if you have not seen it. I beg of you, I will take it under advisement. Average Kirby Enjoyer says, that's the first time I heard this type of advice when it comes to master studies. Thanks, no problem. All right, everybody, I'm gonna run. Thank you for being here. I wish you all the best with your drawing. Don't forget, for anyone interested in the course is on sale until the 31st. And there is a Patreon if you want early access to YouTube videos and you want access to the high weirdness, just the very strangest stuff that I do. I have a series on there called The Deep End. It has 3 entries so far, but I plan on doing more. But that's a new thing, but just in general, if you're interested in supporting on something like Patreon, there is a Patreon. And that's about it. I don't think I have any other notes to give. Goodbye to Karim, goodbye to Anarud, goodbye to Tu Vieja. Do you have a small or quick tip to understand better form? Quick tip. I do have a whole course about that, unfortunately. But a quick tip. You're supposed to be adding information. This is the most general tip I have about form. A lot of people don't understand that they're supposed to be adding information when they handle the form, when they render, when they create the sense of three-dimensionality. Beginners think they're just softening stuff or just putting soft patches on things. That's A, wrong, and B, boring for you. You're not going to want to do it because you're not actually doing anything exciting. If you realize that when you're rendering form, you're just drawing on the inside. You're doing the same thing that you do on the contours. You're just doing it soft on the inside of the lines. You're adding information. Then you can render for 100 hours and it's fun because it just feels like every other part of drawing. You're just adding exciting new information. So that was the big unlock for me. And if you're not aware of that, that might be it for you as well. Goodbye to Zachary Reeves, Gabriel Salas, Lack Aslam, goodbye to Engine Khan Ude, goodbye to Autumn Rose, goodbye to West, goodbye to Ellis Demon, goodbye to Dumas53. Goodbye to Average Kirby Enjoyer, goodbye to Sweet Sweet Round Brush, which is my favorite brush. Goodbye to MF, goodbye to Mustafa. And I think I got everybody. Goodbye to Zeka. All right, everybody. Goodbye. Have a good Monday. Peace.